Welcome to Amanda Hall's Psychic Mini Workshop Series here on Facebook Live on a Wednesday morning from the Gold Coast at 8:30 a.m. Yes, it's 8:30 a.m. and I was going to say the sun's shining. It's sort of trying to peek through the clouds here on the Gold Coast. So I hope you're having an absolutely awesome week. Wherever you are in this planet of ours, it's absolutely an amazing time to be alive with all the political stuff going on around the world. But here in Australia, this week we've had some really major weather events, and I want to pay some respect to the people that are doing it tough in Townsville in North Queensland, which is a couple of days drive from where I am on the Gold Coast, where they're in a 1 in a 100-year flood, and there's been an awful lot of damage done to homes around the place up there, over 20,000 at this point and still counting of being inundated. Only a small loss of life, but any loss of life is something that they were aiming not to have any. So far, so good. We've only had a couple of losses of life, and that's still too many. But for those people in North Queensland, look, our hearts and our prayers do go out to you. You've got a massive job ahead of you when it does eventually stop raining and you are able to start repiecing your lives together in the massive cleanup and things that are going to be ahead. It's going to be a very, very long time before the city of Townsville rebuilds and gets back to the capacity that it once was. But looking at it on a karmic level, and I don't ever like to sort of tie weather events into karma, but if you look at it on a level that what in a positive way will this bring to Townsville in the longer term, it will create a lot of employment in the town as they start to rebuild their lives and rebuild their homes and sort of get people back on the track again and things like that. So in a bigger picture way, as much as this has been a catastrophe, and that's the words that the insurance companies are using, it will bring positive influx of money into the city. It will bring employment, it will bring growth, and I think it will bring a community together again that maybe in a way that for some reason or another it wasn't there, or they weren't pulling together before. Who knows the reasons why we have weather events? Don't get me started on my soapbox about global warming, because I really do believe in global warming, and I do believe these events are direct results of that, along with many other sort of, I suppose, ways that you can sort of look at things, and Mother Nature sort of really retaliating and saying, you guys down there really are mucking up my planet and not listening and heeding the warnings that I'm given. Then in the southern part of the country, in Victoria and the little piece off the mainland, the little island off the main island called Tasmania, they've had tremendous bushfires. So there's been a lot of loss of homes and property and things like that. So far, no loss of life, I don't believe, down there. But either way, you know, we've gone from one extreme to the other, floods in the north and bushfires in the south. I'm sort of in the middle, and we're here desperate for rain. We've had a little bit overnight, not much, but we've had a little bit, and we're thankful for any little bit we get. But I think it just goes to show us that each and every one of us have got to be a little bit more conscious of what role can we play? What can we do to help tackle global warming? What is it that we can do that even in a simple way that might be able to help things? And I'm sure there's many things that many people can do, but I think just all of us becoming more conscious of reducing our wastage, saying no to plastic bags, saying no to things that are packaged in 15 different layers of things to make them look pretty. Let's get back to some basics. Let's get back to sort of, you know, instead of putting cling wrap on our food to put in the microwave, buy a container that has a lid that you wash up. You know, things like that. It might sound simple and it might sound little, but all those things I'm sure do help. Anyway, we're going off task here. I'd want to welcome everybody here to the Amanda Hall Psychic Mini Workshop Series. We're up to workshop number 50 this week. My, hasn't the year gone quickly? Each week what I do is I bring to you a different topic in the psychic astrology areas, and I incorporate that into a mini workshop using one of my soy candles. Now, my aim of these workshops is not to give away free readings. My aim of these workshops is to educate the public, is to share with you some of my knowledge and wisdom that I've amassed in over 40 years of being in the psychic industry, and share with you the tips and tricks of things that I've found that have worked and why they work and why other things don't work. And what I try and teach everybody is, if it feels right for you, then adopt it. If it doesn't feel right, then dismiss it. I think that's probably the greatest piece of advice I can give everybody on their psychic journey, is not every piece of information or knowledge that you come across is right for you. It's got to feel right to you. If it feels right to you, then adopt it. If it doesn't, dismiss it. And I know very early in my career, when I was floundering around like everybody else getting into the psychic industry, I really didn't know where to go or how to sort of gauge something, whether it was right or wrong for me. And I adopted that principle very early in my career, that if it didn't feel right, if it felt uncomfortable and awkward, then maybe it wasn't right. And that's the rules that I've worked with all my psychic life. And by doing that, I'm not saying all the time have I been 100% correct, but I can say that I've been able to adjust my thinking or adjust my outlook to things as I've gone along, where something mightn't be right today, but in 3 months' time, I might come back at it and have a different viewpoint or a different standpoint. And I think, well, okay, I can see the merit in that now, and I can see why that would work. Where 3 months ago, I couldn't, because maybe I wasn't ready or it wasn't the right time to implement that. So nothing that we teach or nothing that we learn is ever set in stone. I think there's always room for, I can change my mind or I can have a different opinion. And I think if you work along those scores, I think you'll always find that you'll gain the maximum that you can out of your learning and your journey along the path of psychic development and becoming a stronger person with much more inner peace. So for those of you that don't know who I am, my name's Amanda Hall Psychic. I've been in the psychic industry here in Australia for over 40 years. I was inducted into the Psychic Hall of Fame here in 2013. And for 4 years in a row since then, I've won Psychic of the Year, voted by the public, I might say. So thank you very much to everybody that's voted for me over the years. It's a really interesting week this week because we're going to be talking about the new moon in Aquarius. So for those of you that are new to the show, welcome. We welcome all our new viewers from around the world. I only have one little request for you. If you can pop your name into the comments box and say where you're from, I will sort of say hello and wave back to you in the next 48 hours. Please be very clear, I do not give away free readings on this show. If you want the opportunity to have a free reading with me, can I suggest to you that you go and check out A1R Psychic Radio here on Facebook, on Moonstruck TV. They have 3 nights out of the USA where they have psychic shows, where they do offer 2 complimentary readings per show with the psychic. Now, I do offer 2 free readings on the show previously to this workshop here on Facebook. So that's your opportunity to get a complimentary reading with me if you want that opportunity. I do not do them on this workshop. And the other thing is, it doesn't matter how many different ways you ask me the same question and try and get me to answer a question, I will not, under any circumstances, answer a question that does not relate to the topic of this workshop. If you have a question about the new moon or the new moon in Aquarius, and you have a question that directly relates to that topic of today's workshop, I'm more than happy to answer that for you free of charge. Anything past that point, I will kindly suggest to you then you need to book a reading with me over at amandahallpsychic.com.au, and you will find a button on the front page that says book a reading. Click that button, that'll take you through to the choices that you have for readings. When you get to the checkout, if you type in capital letters the word Facebook, you will get a discount because of watching my workshop series. There is plenty of things for you to see and do and look at amandahallpsychic.com. We actually even have a free reading service over there where we have a tarot widget where you can do your very own Simply Tarot reading with my very own Simply Tarot cards. So that will give you a Celtic cross reading. It's free. You can do it as many times of the day as you like. You can share it with your friends. We also have a newsletter service there. When you sign up for the newsletter, you will be offered a free complimentary astrology chart from your own very own details emailed to you in a PDF anywhere in the world. And we have a newsletter that I try and send out once a month with some specials and tell you what's coming up in the world of Amanda Hall Psychic and those sort of things. But, you know, there's lots of psychic jewelry, candles, readings, astrology charts, things like that over in the shop. So happy shopping. So let's get down to the task at hand. So we're talking today about the new moon in Aquarius. Now, the new moon happens once a month. It's not a new phenomenon. We have it every, roughly every 28 days. And if we have a second new moon in the month, it's called a black moon. It's not called the dark moon. The dark moon or the new moon is, as it's affectionately known as, it should be a new moon, but some people call it the dark moon. Means it's not as illuminated or as strong in the sky as the full moon. Sometimes the full moon can be super, super bright and sort of really be big and powerful looking, where the dark moon or the new moon is a little bit less illuminated. In my opinion, it's equally as powerful in a different way. The new moon is my favorite moon of the month because to me it looks at anything new that we want to bring into our lives. I see it as a time of renewal, of positivity, of being able to put new opportunities out there, you know, try and attract to us the things that we'd like to change in our lives, and particularly in new ventures. And a lot of people sort of say to me, Amanda, but how can I have something new every month that I want to attract into my life? Well, we don't always have something new we want to attract into our lives every month. It can be, we can have a list of things that we're working on, but each month we write that on our list as something new. So we're refreshing the energy, we're refreshing the interest or the input into that project that we may have been working on for 3 years, but we're giving it a little bit of renewed interest. And sometimes just by doing that, it can freshen it up, it can bring new ideas to the table that we hadn't thought of before. It clears the backlog of being locked down or bogged down in going round in circles and not getting any new input into the direction of where we'd like to take the project. So that's the new moon. So every new moon has a different energy, or it follows the sign of the zodiac round the zodiac wheel each month. The new moon is always the same as the energy the sun is in. So I want to be very clear on that. So if the sun is in Aquarius, the new moon will be in Aquarius. So what does that mean with a full moon? Well, it means that the full moon would be directly opposite where the sun is. So if the sun's in Aquarius, the full moon will be in Leo, because it's directly opposite, or 6 signs opposite. So with the new moon being in Aquarius, what can we expect with the new moon? So we know it's about new ideas, bringing things new into our lives, sort of wanting to sort of attract new and start something new. But with the Aquarian energy, what it's telling us or sharing with us is dare to be different. Dare to be like an Aquarian. Do something that's going to shock or surprise people. Do something different. Step out of your comfort zones. And by being able to do that and free yourself of the shackles that you feel that have been holding you back, and probably feeling a little bit stodgy from last month's new moon where it was in Capricorn, where you sort of felt you had to put your practical hat on and be very sensible and look at money and look at, you know, directions and sort of get some long range planning happening. Now we can sort of break free of those sort of shackles and say, oh good, I can break those chains that have been holding me back and making me feel restricted. I'm going to go and do something different, something innovative. And why would we look to do that? Well, the reasons why we would look to do that is that sort of then frees us up from our old habit patterns, our old ways of thinking, and allows us to sort of allow new things to come towards us. Now, this can sometimes be in the way of brilliance, and it can be those light bulb moments that all of a sudden, bingo, there's the answer to the question that's been plaguing me for 6 months. Well, how come I didn't see that or think of that before? Because we weren't ready to. We weren't ready to sort of let go of the old restrictive ways of looking at things and how we've been programmed to think. And it's as the cycles change astrologically each month, we get the opportunity to think and look at our lives in a different way. And this is why it's so important to learn to work with the moon cycles, but also to understand as the energy changes astrologically each month, how does this affect us personally? Yes, we are all at our strongest when it's back in our own sign. So if you're an Aquarian, then this is your month. This is when you're feeling at your peak. You're feeling positive. You're feeling enlightened. You're feeling motivated. You're feeling like, let's go. It's the beginning of your race. Where if you're a Capricorn, you might be sort of feeling, well, okay, I just want to take my time a little bit now. I need to sort of slow down a little bit. And that's okay. So each sign will have its own way of looking at things, but for the Aquarians, it's their time to shine. For the rest of us, it's time to work with that Aquarian energy of having those light bulb moments, of allowing ourselves to think outside the square, allow our minds to just go free, to see where they're going to take us. And for some people, there'll be absolutely nothing. And for other people, they won't be able to write fast enough to keep down the ideas. So if we're going to be working with some candles to how to bring the best energy into our lives, I want you to look at it this way. The new moon is the 5th of February, or February 5 if you're in America. It is the time, so for here in Australia, that was yesterday, the start of the new moon. So I like to work with all moon cycles in this way. I like to work 2 days before the actual cycle of the moon, 3 days cycle of the moon, and then 2 days on the decline. So I would have started working with my new moon energy on the 3rd, and then that would be 2 days lead up to the 5th. We have approximately 2.5 days of the lunar cycle, but I always allow 3 of the new moon, which is where we are now. It's in its intensity. And then we have 2 days of it declining, coming down the hill, sort of easing off a little bit. So if you work on a 7-day cycle, you'll always find it easier then to work with those sort of things. So I like to suggest to people to write 3 lists. Now, the reasons why I'm saying 3 lists is we're going to put 2 underneath our candles, and we're going to have 1 that we can read out aloud each day as we go to light the candle. And sometimes it's easier than taking it, putting it underneath the candle and bringing it back out, and putting it underneath and bringing it back out. If you've got another list that you leave near it, it's easier as you go to light the candle of a morning or of a night, whenever you do it. You just pick up the list, you read it out aloud as you light the candle, and then you read it out aloud again as you light the second candle. So what would we be putting on our list? I like to work with a minimum of 3. That's always the way I've worked. You could have 33 things on your list. That's fine. And it's not always about new things. It could be about, when I say not always about brand new things, it doesn't have to be new business ideas or buying new cars or whatever. It can be new things that you want to bring into your life. And, you know, the number one topic I'm hearing so far this year is I've got to get my health ailments under control. I've been having this little issue or that little niggling issue, and I really need to get on top of it this year, Amanda. And have you got any suggestions? Well, this is one of the perfect times that I think we can work with the new moon in Aquarius and put on the list, I want the breakthrough answers to my whatever the condition may be, or why I don't have any energy, or why I can't stick to a good eating regime. I want some answers. So that could be number 1 on your list. Number 2, it could be, I need to work on my relationship with my co-worker or my sister or my mother or my brother, or whatever the case may be. For other people, it may be, I want some answers or some ideas about how to start a new business off, or I need to change direction, or I'm feeling restless, or whatever it might be. Ask for the information to be given to you. And you can be very vague like that, sort of saying, I just want some ideas or some guidance or some direction on which way to go next with new opportunities with work. And you leave that open to the universe, for the universe to show you what the answers may be. So we've written our list. I always like to, if we've got 3 things on the list, I always like to try and balance the ledger if I can, and 3 things that I'm releasing that are now completed, and sort of saying thank you for, okay, I've now decided that we can release whatever it may be. And it may be that I've now accepted that I can't repair the relationship with my brother. As much as I've tried, the door's always open, but I'll release that old energy. So we can release things as well, because I'm always believing that if we bring something new in, we've got to release something on the other hand. So we've got that balance of the scales. So, okay, so we go to work with our new moon candle. Our new moon candle, these are extra large candles. The candle suppliers recommend that you'll get about a 50 to 60 hour burn out of these. I've found I can get up to 100 hours if I look after my candle. I don't put them in drafts underneath fans, air conditioners. I keep them away from children and pets. Definitely never under curtains and things like that. But it's got a dual wick system. So I light one side one day and one side the next day. And that's what I think gives me the longer burn time. So when we're working with our candle, we pop out, we read our list out aloud, we pop a list underneath the candle, putting the candle on a coaster, never directly on furniture, because the glass container does get hot, and sometimes with the change in barometric pressure, they can crack. I've only ever had that happen once or twice, but I don't take the risk. I always put a coaster between it and the furniture. And be aware, as I said, the glass container does get hot. The soy wax itself doesn't get hot. If for some reason you have a little bit of a spillage, wipe it up with soapy water very quickly. You'll usually find it doesn't stain. It's not something that's to be used to rub into the skin and things like that. And all candles are made with a fragrant oil. Anybody that tells you that they're made with an essential oil is not quite telling you the truth, because essential oils have a much higher burn rate and they can explode. So that's the reasons why that good candle makers use a specially designed fragrant oil for candles, not an essential oil that we would use in aromatherapy, and they're the reasons for that. So we light the candle from 15 minutes to 2 hours per day. Now, I always sit with my candle. I never leave a candle unattended. I can't stress that enough. No matter how carefully you think you've got it set up and it's in a safe spot, things can change. We don't want to burn your house down. So that's really important. 15 minutes to 2 hours. Most of us can find 15 minutes to sit with a candle, meditate, write our shopping list or whatever, but I like to just sit there and look at the flame of the candle when I'm working with it. So the second candle that we would be working with is the air sign candle. Now, this is the one for Aquarius. It goes for all air signs. It goes for Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Again, same principles apply. Two-wick system. Write your list out, read it out aloud, pop it under the candle, and so on. And again, 15 minutes to 2 hours for that. So for those of you that say to me, Amanda, look, I don't have time, I don't have space there for two big candles to work with on the moon situation, we do have a travel kit. This one is made up this week of 2 air sign candles and a new moon in the middle. We have 28 candles in the range. So you can make your travel kit up of any of the 28 candles that you can make your own combination in the box. At the checkout, you can choose whatever candles you want. You can have 3 of the same, or you can have 3 different ones. So these will give you around about a 15-minute burn time. Same rules apply, putting it on the coaster, reading your list out aloud. These are really great to give as gifts. And sometimes people buy a box of those and give each individual candle away as a gift. So it makes nice little gifts for your friends coming up for birthdays and things like that. For those of you that don't want to work with a flame but still want to work with the magic of the soy candles, this is a melt warmer. Now, here in Australia, you can pick these up at your local supermarket for around about the $15 mark. You can pick them up in department stores, things like that. They are electric. They plug into the power point with a little button on the side. So when I go to work with the soy wax for the week, I take the little dish off the top, pop it in the freezer for a couple of minutes. The wax will go hard. It's easy to remove. I wash it up in warm soapy water. I let it cool down and back to room temperature if I've used warm water. Then I put my new wax in it for the week. So when I start out for the week, I put a teaspoon in of each wax. So this week it would be a teaspoon of the new moon and a teaspoon of the air sign or Aquarius candle wax. Each day I would add an extra half a teaspoon of each as I go to turn it on. Again, reading out aloud my intent that is on my list. And then I can leave that going safely all day. I don't have to sit and babysit it. They're great in the office because, you know, they send out a beautiful fragrance and they're usually non-threatening in that way. You don't have to be concerned about them. So they're a great alternative to working with the flame. And, you know, I don't make little packets of melts anymore or anything like that. I found people were happier to buy an extra large candle and just take the wax out of it. So they've got the duality. They can burn the candle if they wish, or they can use the wax out of that into their melt warmer. It just gives you that variety. So for here in Australia, we offer free postage on any of our products. For overseas, I have some exciting news. We've just done a deal with a new freight company here in Australia, and we've now been able to reduce our flat fee of international postage by nearly 40%, which that's a huge saving for anybody. So same rules apply. It is a flat fee no matter how much product that you buy. If you're an international customer, it will just be that one flat fee. Here in Australia, it's always been free postage, or has been for many years, on any product that you buy here from us at amandahallpsychic.com.au. So don't forget, when you're at the checkout, type in the word Facebook in capital letters for your discount, for your loyalty for watching our mini workshop series. So next week's going to be a really exciting week because we're heading into Valentine's Day. So next week, rather than having a Valentine's Day workshop as such on, you know, how to attract love in your life, I thought we'd actually do a workshop on soulmates. It's one of those questions that I get asked a lot of times, Amanda, what is a soulmate? How can I bring my soulmate to me? What does it mean? How do I go about making that relationship stronger? So next week we're going to be working with soulmates. So anybody that might want to get in and, you know, get some soulmate candles before we do the workshop on soulmates, that's perfectly fine. We have plenty of them in stock at the moment. So, you know, can I suggest to you, head straight to the website www.amandahallpsychic.com.au and, you know, get your soulmate candles. We also have many different astrology charts in our range over there, from computerized generated lovers charts to personal charts done by me that are a bit more expensive, of course, because it's my expertise that comes into it. But you can always book a 15-minute consultation with me and just give me your birth date of you and your lover. And that's what I'll focus on for the whole 15 minutes, is the strengths and weaknesses very quickly without going into a full-blown chart. So that's a way of doing a comparison really quickly. But please stress, I stress that when you book the reading with me, tell me that's what you want. Send me the details so that I can already have that sort of worked out before we start our 15-minute consultation. And I'm happy to do consultations with people all around the world. You know, if you're here in Australia, you know, we offer phone and Skype, and I offer phone and Skype for our international viewers as well. And I also offer an email service of 2 questions for the same price as a 15-minute phone or Skype consultation. So until next week, I hope you have an absolutely awesome week wherever you are in this world of ours. It's been really great to catch up with you all again. And next week, don't forget, we're going to be working with soulmates, and I can't wait. Bye for now.